And this is an episode I've been waiting to do for a really, really long time, man. Bring the Vandy jersey back out and celebrate, And so in episode 22 today, I want to do an impromptu episode celebrating Vanderbilt's win over Alabama, but also I think this is an incredible opportunity for me to reconnect with a lot of the Vanderbilt community and a lot of Vanderbilt fans who have, stood by a program that ever since James Franklin left has just been in a really tough decline. And with NIL entering the scene, we're definitely in a different landscape of college football. And, the academic background that we have and what we stand for as a university and being in Nashville, Tennessee will always persist time. But the athletic side of things and competing in such a financially dominant nature of college football these days is really tough. So in this episode, hello to any of my Vanderbilt fans that are coming back and get to see me and what I'm doing in my life after that long college football career and now what I've started for young athletes all across the country and what I'm doing for the quarterback industry. But really want to talk about Clark Lea today. Want to talk about the program strategy at Vanderbilt and just the way things have gone over the last 8 years and kind of how things are turning a little bit right now. Want to talk about former players, kind of my voice, why this is the first time that I've worn this thing in a really long time. Despite my jersey being up on the wall and remembering every day that I went to Vanderbilt, it's been a really, really hard last 8-9 years to publicly associate myself with a program that, at times I haven't really believed in the direction that we're going at an administrative level and at a coaching level. And so really want to talk about that. Then we'll get into Saturday. We'll talk about Diego Pavia, talk about the name that I think everybody should be talking about that people aren't talking about, which is Tim Beck and Barton Simmons, who many of you guys may not even know who those guys are if you aren't deeply enriched in the program. And then just the scene in Nashville on Saturday. So where I'd like to start is with Clark Lea. Clark is a man who, let me say it this way, I knew that he was a big-time coach. I knew that he was coming from Notre Dame. I knew all of those things, but I rolled through as I was doing a camp in Nashville, Tennessee, and I just stopped by the facility. I didn't know Clark. I had never talked to him before, and when he met me, I knew what type of man he was. He asked to meet with me, and basically he wanted to explore with me because as a captain and starting quarterback for a 9-4 football team that was nationally ranked under James Franklin, he wanted to explore how we were able to do that. And he sat me down, and as a man who's, making over $1 million and has had all this success, he sat there and he asked me questions for an extended period of time. And those questions then led into a friendship that allowed me to ultimately share tears with him and him share tears with me. And we talk about coaching and the struggles of collegiate coaching and, being in this for the kids, but then having, all the dynamics and inner workings of the NCAA and NIL that have kind of taken away from a lot of the development program aspects of this. And our conversation was one where we bonded and we talked about Bruce Lee's philosophies and, inside out coaching and, watching him, it was hard to not get teared up. In fact, I did get teared up. Not on the field. I was so happy for everybody as I watched everybody storm the field and the Gatorade come in over his head. But it was his press conference after the game. And it meant a lot to me because I know, forget his salary. I know what he's been battling over the last 2-3 years. And in today's world, to stand your ground and to believe what you believe and know that that's in the best interest of these young men and their long-term futures, and to stay in that conviction despite losing games and having people take shots at you and all of these things. Clark has adapted a very different philosophy about how he's going to go about building this Vanderbilt football program. And that was from the ground up, long-term, not short-term, flash in the pan, get me somewhere else, long-term success. And that comes down to the foundation of who you are. And so what people saw on Saturday was just a manifestation of his sacrifice over the last 3 years and all the work that he's done and all the work that his staff has done to build this thing from the ground up. They've lost players being bought out of their program after they've done an unbelievable job finding athletes that fit not only academically but athletically to be able to play in the SEC. And then Alabama comes and poaches your left tackle. You know, that's a really, really tough reality of where we're at in college football, and yet Clark has stayed the course. So I've been excited to watch us obviously compete at a very high level, get a couple wins that maybe people didn't expect us to have going into this past week, and then to see it all show up. Guys, we didn't just beat Alabama. We kicked their ass. The score was close. The time of possession was not. We beat Alabama. Alabama did not show up and turn the ball over 5 times. They turned the ball over twice. We didn't turn the ball over, but we controlled the clock. And to do that says a lot more than just a fluke Saturday in college football. This was Clark Lea and what he's been building for a long time. And to see good people win in today's market, in today's world in 2024, just so happy for Clark and for all the athletes who trusted Clark and for his staff who have trusted him. That program strategy that I'm talking about is one that will win long term. Right now, it's Vanderbilt football, right? We've been the doormat of the SEC again for about 9-10 years, and now we have our day. This day happened 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. It happened 5 months ago. When the identity of who Clark Lea is and what he stands for and his consistent messaging was bought into by every single person in that organization. We don't have the facilities that everybody in the SEC has. We don't have the money, the financial backing, at least we don't share it with our athletic programs the way that we could and the way that some of these other institutions do. And yet that strategy has begun to start to manifest as you're seeing character and true talent evaluation coming out of high school win. And that's why I'll jump into Barton Simmons really quickly. Barton Simmons' role on our staff, I want to look up what that title is real quick just so that you guys see it, is he is the he's the general manager, which is and he was coming from 247 Sports. So he's deeply connected to the talent evaluation across the country every year. He's a very, very educated, very good man. And basically, he's deeply in tune with high school athletes, where you can find talent that maybe other people don't, where coaches are lazy in college football and just subscribe to ratings as opposed to actually going out and evaluating, actually working with high school coaches, finding those athletes, finding those players. And you're seeing some guys pop up on tape, right? Not just that we got through the transfer portal, guys who we've recruited that, holy shit, that looks like a big-time guy right there. How do we get him? How did we get him in today's college football? Trusting these. And Barton has done an incredible job. I've always known that he was going to do an incredible job. I just candidly, I was a little bit worried about just, can we really put in enough time to find some of these guys to have that success? And he's been able to do that. And the way that Clark has kind of diverted recruiting over to him, Clark's still obviously deeply involved, but this has been Barton who's been able to put his staff on top of finding these guys. And they've brought in character fits, OKGs, our kind of guys, Vanderbilt type guys, but also that can play at an SEC level. So Barton, huge tip of the cap to you. Huge tip of the program strategy that Clark Lea has adopted, knowing that we're not just going to beat people by trying to buy people. That's not how it's going to work. And I think what that does and what Saturday did is it brings people like me back into this. You know how badly I've wanted to support the team that has done so much for my family? My grandfather was a center fielder at Vanderbilt and a hell of a player. He went on to be a psychologist. He gave so much money back to the school because in his words, he was like, Vanderbilt changed my life. So I want to help change people's lives that go to Vanderbilt one day. That is the type of loyalty and the type of appreciation that people who go to Vandy have for their school. But how the fuck do I support a 1-11, 2-10 team every year that's administration is not supporting the football team the way that I know we're capable of supporting them. And to me, it looks hypocritical. To me, I don't understand why we wouldn't pour the money and resources that we do into every other phase of Vanderbilt University into the football program. Now you're starting to see a little bit of that. You're starting to see a little bit more of that with these facilities and the things that are happening. Then we get a win like that on the field. You got Jordan Rogers on the SEC Network using his platform to talk about Vanderbilt football. You have me using my platform to talk about Vanderbilt football. This is all we've been waiting for. All we've been waiting for is an opportunity to see we're doing things the right way. It shows up a couple times on a couple Saturdays. And now I want to wear this thing. I want to wear this thing. And to all you fans who have stayed loyal over the last 8 to 10 years, good on you. Good on you. Because as a former player who lives, breathes, and dies Vanderbilt football, it was hard for me to even associate myself with the product that we were putting on the field, with the people that were running that organization, and watching you get your ass kicked and your friends laugh at you every week ain't fun. So I think that this week can serve as the resurgence of a lot of former athletes coming back to Vanderbilt football. And that's what these other programs have that we haven't had, is pride. Pride. And I hope and I know that this will be the week that brings people back. As far as Saturday, you're looking at a game like, let's go into the individuals first. Diego Pavia. I mean, dude, I said it. I put out a tweet on Saturday. I'm buying my jersey, and I will be wearing that jersey every Saturday for the rest of the season. Not because we beat Alabama, because of what the kid stands for. Under-recruited, goes to New Mexico State, comes to Vandy, doesn't take shit from anybody, and is just a competitor. Wants to win. I identify a lot with that. People know at Vandy, like playing in the last 4 games of my career on a torn ACL and doing what, that's what I stood for. And this guy goes out there and does that. Shit. So impressed, brother. So impressed with the way you led your guys. So impressed watching you walk across the field as you guys bus in from the hotel and just watching the aura that you have, the confidence that you have to say, I don't give a shit who we play today. Let's do this. The full backing and support of Tim Beck's system, which I think Tim Beck is the name that Vanderbilt fans should be acknowledging this week more than any almost. Why? Because to play at a school like Vanderbilt, you're not going to dominate in the trenches. Not consistently, at least. We may have on Saturday, but you're not going to consistently do it. Why? Because the big athletes around the country on the defensive and offensive lines, there's the lowest amount of numbers of those guys. So when those guys get taken by college football programs, in a lot of ways, it's going to come down to the biggest, sexiest programs or the biggest paycheck. And Vanderbilt is not going to be that team based on who we're playing against. We're not going to be the guys that dominate in the trenches. So I've always thought that to be the challenge on offense. When you look back at our team back in 2013, like what you're looking at is a team that was so multiple. We were running gun, RPO, gun, seven-man pro, double post, deep overs, under center, 116 power, 16 power, 36 stretch, ISO. We were coming out in 40 different formations in our 80 plays. We were using motions and shifts on 75% of our snaps because I think James Franklin knew we're not going to be able to just line up and play with these guys. We're going to have to keep them on their toes, keep them adjusting to us, do a lot of things pre-snap that limit what they can do post-snap. And so strategically, you look at Tim Beck, who comes in here. This offense is the offense for how Vanderbilt competes in the SEC. Tons of motion, tons of shifts, misdirection, multiple options on every play. A quarterback that's using his legs. It comes down to playing against teams that, or in this case, like it's like you're playing a military academy almost, where you have to prepare to play Air Force, Navy, and Army very different than you prepare to play anybody else in the country. Why? Because it takes complete discipline and understanding your job and your responsibility defensively and playing team defense. If you play me defense and you step out of your gap, Air Force, Navy, Army, they'll gash you. And they're not looking for big plays. They'll take 3-4 yards every single play. And the patience that Tim Beck and Vanderbilt illustrated and the aggression with that patience. 4th and 1, play action, throw a post up in the fourth quarter when you're already up by 5. Do you know how many opportunities Tim Beck had to get conservative in that game? So many. And they stayed aggressive till the final whistle, dude. The final, I guess the knee wasn't aggressive, but up until the knee, right? To call a game like that, to have a quarterback play the way you're calling the game the entire time, to get those big momentum plays. I think one of the major plays of the game was it was 2nd and 8, I believe, with like 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. What does everybody do in the situation where you need 2 first downs to win the game? You'll see them get conservative. You'll see them run the ball and hope that they get it. The reason why people do that is because when you elect to throw the ball on 2nd and 8 and there's a potential incompletion there, you've given Jalen Milroe and Alabama another timeout. And you didn't move the ball, and it's now 3rd and 8. Tim Beck, I trust my quarterback. I know what we have to do to win the game. Clark, win the game, bro. Do what we have to do to win the game. They play action, roll out, hit the running back in the flat. He turns up for about 18 yards. Now we only need 1 first down. And if we do get stopped, we punt the ball, and Alabama has to go at least 95 yards. Aggression when you have the opportunity to be conservative. And an offensive system that your quarterback believes in, that your offense believes in, and that is creating an advantage for a team that on paper, athletically, pound for pound, speed for speed, doesn't have that advantage. Brilliant job by Tim Beck. Brilliant performance from Diego Pavia. And brilliant strategy of accumulating the players that can do this together, that have the talent to beat the number 1 team in the country who just put it on Georgia last week, who recruits 4 and 5 stars all across the board and can pay for anything they want in terms of their roster. We beat those guys. And there's a lot that goes into that. The scene in Nashville on Saturday, yeah, it just gave me chills. It gave me chills. Thinking about my grandpa and just all the people who have been a part of Vanderbilt University, getting to share in a moment that really stands for what our institution stands for. What we stand for is just being very open, free of mind, leaders, entrepreneurial, like want to help the world at large. And for many of us in the community that's been established at Vanderbilt University, you understand that like it's our job as we step out into the real world to make a difference. It's my life. Got into college coaching, got my double degrees in psychology, and started going to work and realized from a value standpoint and ethics standpoint that I wasn't really aligning with the direction that college football was going, and so I left. Created a new narrative, set a new narrative that ultimately brings people together and shows this young athlete that now exists in this world of Generation Z with the same level of anxiety as a 1950s psychiatric patient, that the mental and spiritual side of sports is just as important as the physical. There are so many people that have found that inspiration by going to Vanderbilt and by being a part of this institution. And for us to see all of those people rush the field on Saturday, for us to see the goalpost get carried from the stadium all the way down Broad Street and thrown into the river. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Vanderbilt fans who have stayed with the program for all these years, you deserve this. You deserve this. The reason I get emotional is because I deeply feel the people who would come to our games and revel in our success. And then I've watched the tweets and I've watched that low attendance over the last 8 years. And I've watched what's happened. And the way that some people stay loyal to programs despite their lack of success and despite putting a poor product out on the field, I'll always tip my cap and give so much credit to the way that you guys have been able to do that. To watch you guys have your moment on Saturday, to watch me have mine. Pull the jersey back out, get a bunch of tags. How sad is that? That I'm the last quarterback to play on a ranked football team at Vanderbilt. And I haven't gotten texts like that in a decade. All of a sudden, every kid I coach, every athlete I've worked with, every parent that I've been blessed to come, cross paths with, now blowing my phone up on a Saturday. And it allows me to remember what I did there. It allows me to remember my teammates. All my guys, man. All my guys. And just to be able to relive that. That's what you guys gave us on Saturday. That's what Saturday was about. So, Clark, I love you. Congratulations. I'm ready to come talk to the team, man, whenever you're ready to have me. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment. You deserve it. Barton Simmons, the way that you've assembled this roster, you leaving 247 Sports to do this, and being able to do what you've done, congratulations. Congratulations. Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator. Like, your ability to manipulate your own scheme to fit this football team, knowing the schedule that they have to play and knowing what you're up against. Congratulations. Congratulations. Diego Pavia, bro, a big fucking salute from one of the toughest dudes to ever wear that jersey to now potentially the toughest fucking dude to wear the jersey with what you just did. And with the way you've shown up all season. I pray for you to stay healthy, bro. I pray that everything continues to roll in this direction because you deserve it. You deserve it. The work that you've put in, these things don't just happen. You made that happen. Congratulations. To all the former players, let's fucking go, huh? Let's go, bro. I can't wait to connect with all of you guys. But so awesome just to see everybody pour back into it on social media and come back just like this. And to Vanderbilt University, congratulations, guys. This is my podcast, and we run this for athletes, for fans, really wanting to humanize college football, humanize these athletes, so that people understand that, it's not just a number and a guy wearing a helmet. There's a lot more that goes into it. We're talking about the inner workings of college football. And I would love for you guys to like and subscribe to our channel and reach out to me about things that you'd like to talk about. I'm here to serve everybody. So for me, I obviously have an agenda in terms of young athletes and helping them through the lens of mental health. Talking about college football at large, talking about the inner workings, the dynamics of NIL, the NCAA, mental health, all these things. But also, on request, talking about things that ultimately, I'll never just waste words on here and just throw up something to get clicks. This is always going to be something that I think will provide value to people. And I would love to do another segment on Vandy, fly out to Nashville, have a couple conversations with these guys, which I know that they'd open their doors for me. So to all fans who haven't seen me in a while, it's great to see you guys again, man. I hope you guys start and have an unbelievable week this week as we get ready for the rest of a football season that for us is going to be really exciting as we move forward now. So I appreciate your guys' time, and anchor down.